TribLIVE Radio presents Rossi Radio.
Alert. Clear all channels. This is an exclusive.
Trib columnist Rob Rossi live and in studio for 1 hour of the best Pittsburgh sports talk heard anywhere. Trib Total Media. See what's next. Now it's time for radio, Rossi style.
Welcome back. Final half hour here of Rossi Radio. So Kenny Laird, the lights are out tonight. There is trouble in the heartland.
Ooh.
I'm going to welcome back.
Head-on collision.
I'm going to welcome, head-on collision. Smashing in Mike Tomlin's gut, man. So we're all friends here, but this is the first time we've all worked under the same umbrella, literally. Tim Benz, welcome. And look at what it did for me. Now I'm bringing you on to my show to talk about compelling developments.
Right, compelling developments. I like that. It's not necessarily breaking news, but compelling developments. And I talked to Keith Butler for the first time since I came back, and wanted to try to straighten out some misdirection, I guess, that the players have been putting out there about the defense and how the defense is going to look under him. Do you get this constant feeling, as I do, that there's this effort on the part of the defensive players to not make it sound like they're changing because they feel like they are kicking Dick LeBeau out the door in so doing? Like, if you admit that changes are happening, then changes needed to be made, thus justifying the change from defensive coordinator.
I definitely sense that there is a lack of willingness to talk about the changes. I wonder how much of that is because we may not see the changes as much in the regular season unless they are able to sort of hone them in now. So if they start talking about all these things they want to do, but then they get to, week 3 and they go, well, we got to go back to what everybody remembers, more of that. They don't want to maybe have us be able to say, well, you said all of this was coming and now none of this is happening. But could be that too, not to kick Dick LeBeau out. Although there's a lot of guys here that didn't really, they weren't Dick LeBeau guys, so to speak.
One of the changes that I think people wanted to see was Bud Dupree, the first-round pick, and Jarvis Jones, the recent first-round pick of a couple years ago, playing more at outside linebacker instead of a guy who was a journeyman backup, career backup in Arthur Moats, basically, right? And James Harrison, who they just can't seem to divorce themselves from, hard as they try. And personnel-wise,
I get that, though. I mean, if that guy wants to stick around, I ain't man enough to tell him no.
Well, when you've invested 2 first-round picks recently in outside linebacker, you kind of want those guys to play, right?
I get that, but every time I see him walking around, I'm just going like, who's kicking him out the door?
So you would think, though, in your best-case scenario, if twice in the last 3 years you've drafted outside linebackers, you'd like them to play more quickly than not, correct?
Were I a general manager, I would appreciate my first-round picks being on the field.
Right. So I asked Keith Butler that. Is it your best-case scenario to have your 2 young guys playing at outside linebacker and then spot in the veterans here and there as you need to see fit? And this was his response. At outside linebacker, is it your best-case scenario to have the 2 young guys be ready to take the reins immediately and spot in Moats and Harrison when he's ready to go?
No, I do it the other way.
Okay.
To be honest with you, we tried to do it that way a couple of years ago with Jarvis, and it was tough for him. And so we'll put the older guys in, and then let those other guys play a lot, and see how things go for a while. And we're hopeful that our young guys can come along and be the top guys in that, but we're going to play all of them. We got to play all of them because we don't want them dying on the vine out there on us rushing the passer all the time.
So the thinking is then you're likely going into week 1 with Harrison and Moats on the outside?
Well, the thinking is we're going to go with what we think is best. If the young guys can handle the mental part of it, then that's what we'll do. If not, then the older guys will be in there. But despite either way, both of those older guys are going to be playing a lot. And so we hope to be able to rotate them and give them an equal number of snaps if we can.
The Dupree thing, I get.
Yes.
But isn't it time for Jarvis Jones to be more than being worried about dying on the vine, lack of snaps for Arthur Moats or for James Harrison?
What's so interesting about this was at OTAs and in minicamp, it certainly seemed like the starting outside linebackers would be Jarvis Jones and Arthur Moats. It certainly seemed like that's where they were going.
That's been the rotation so far here because Harrison hasn't practiced. In fact, Mark Caballi earlier on the roundtable said he thinks Jarvis is going to play. It's a lock. We had an argument about this. I said Harrison's the better player right now. they may want to force feed a rookie in or a young guy in just to prove that they're on to the next great thing and endorse the number 1 pick, Tim. But, I mean, I'm with Keith Butler. Doesn't it make sense to play Harrison if he's the better guy? Why shoehorn Jarvis in if he's not ready?
Well, if they're not ready, then sure, go with the 2 better players. I get the thinking. It's just alarming that Jarvis Jones, who was supposed to be cable ready coming out of the SEC in year 1, now it's year 3, and he still can't pass Arthur Moats in the depth chart.
I have held off referring to him as a bust because I think it's completely unfair to refer to a player after 2 seasons, one of which was very injury-plagued, as a bust. But if he is not able to be the starter consistently look, if in game 1 you're playing New England and New England has the quarterback that it wants on the field, I do get you would want more experienced guys out there because, let's face it, that could be a buzzsaw situation. But if by week 4 you don't see Jarvis Jones out there, I would be very concerned if he's the healthy player.
Well, and I phrased it the way I phrased it on purpose.
Yeah.
In your best case scenario, and the answer still was no. So it sounds like they're still wanting to lean on the veterans and just have the younger guys spot in.